Very good evening. This is Professor GSK and welcome to the show Interaction with Professor GSK today. So we have a wonderful guest from the industry and we are going to discuss one of the very important topic today, that is about wealth creation. Today we have Mr. Anand Krishnan, founder and principal investment advisor of Koshavruddhi. He is a SEBI registered investment advisor. He has more than 25 years of experience in banking and IT. He is driven by a passion for equity investing and a track record for assisting family and friends in wealth creation. And he has been set up the this organization Koshavruddhi with the sole aim of assisting the generation in the quest to achieve the financial freedom. So, and they are actually their mandate is to support all the people with the unique needs related to their professional and personal goals, and they believe no goal is too big or too small, so that they can make it done for you. So welcome, Mr. Anand Krishnan, for the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Thanks for inviting.
Yeah, thanks for inviting our accepting our invitation. So but let's start with discussion. Many people may get confused with the difference between these two terms. Okay, so we use, in a common man's perspective, those who are having more money. Okay, so they can be viewed as a rich person, or they are viewed as a wealthy person. But you and me may know, having more money is not having more wealth. So can you just give a difference of money versus wealth? What is the difference between these two?
Sure, that's an interesting question. Okay, see, basically, money is you whatever you earn. Okay, but what happens with most people, and in today's scenario, where the income levels have gone up. Okay, but the spending has also been going up. Okay, so the big difference between just money and wealth is, okay, you if you spend all of what you are earning, okay, then you're not saving enough and you're not leaving enough for wealth creation. Okay, whereas in a good scenario, what you do is you spend much less than what you earn. Okay, and save the money and invest the money. So there is again, leaving money the way it is, you keep it as cash, for example. Okay, inflation eats away the buying power. Okay, now what do you have to do? Okay, you can, there are many ways of wealth creation. Okay, you can put it in a simple fixed deposits. Okay, where you get a fixed return, you also have the security of your principal. Okay, or you can look at, I mean, fixed any fixed income instrument, you can do it. Okay, you can invest in real estate. The advantage with the real estate is it grows over time, but it is a larger investment, so many people may not have the ability to um, you to go and buy something at a huge cost. Okay, they may have to acquire a loan to buy, to create that wealth. Okay, there is a third option, which is you go to the you go and buy gold. Okay, which traditionally fixed income instruments or gold have been the preferred choice of wealth creation for Indians. Okay, and real estate. Okay, these three are the preferred choice for Indians. Okay, but there is a growing interest in stock markets. Okay, equity investing, which historically has provided ability to beat inflation and create wealth. So these are the methods of wealth creation. Okay, but money that is not invested is not going to help you with wealth creation.
Good. A good start from you, Krishnan. Next way, I want to move, and I again align with the wealth creation, and there is a perception, right? Having money and having being a rich is enough, and why there is a need to create wealth. You told you perfectly, money which is not invested, right? So that will not create any wealth. But for a common man's perspective, why one need to create wealth? What necessitates a people to create wealth? So, I should get motivated to create wealth, right? So, creating money and creating, I think again, I believe asset and wealth, again, it has a little difference, okay? So, what is the importance of creating wealth? So, do you have any specific things need to be stressed for insisting the importance of creating wealth for one?
Sure. First thing, it helps you achieve financial freedom. Okay. So, financial freedom is basically achieved by a process through which you create wealth. Okay. Now, having money, for example, if you're assuming somebody is earning, let's say 1 lakh per month, okay, but he has a EMI of, let's say, 80,000 rupees per month, okay, that doesn't leave him enough money, one, to spend for his current needs, and someone for him to save for future, primarily in terms of liquidity. Okay. Whereas if somebody is making only 50,000 rupees and he has no debt, okay, he is in a much better position. Okay. So money earned, okay, it cannot just be used for your making your credit card payments and your EMI. Okay. So again, wealth creation becomes important because that helps you in terms of achieving financial freedom. Okay. And when you achieve financial freedom, it does not allow you to just stay quiet, or it helps you do things that you're passionate about. Okay. Each individual will have certain priorities in life. Okay, they may say, hey, I want to achieve this, and after I achieve this, I want to really go out and do um, something which is more closer to my heart. Okay, it could be any of your passion. It could just be playing golf. It should be just it could be going out and helping poor children with education. Okay, not just funding, but teaching. Okay, teaching, again, it could just be teaching values to children, not just any subject. Okay, so there are people have different interests, varied interests. Okay, somebody will be interested in music. Okay, but they may not become a professional musician, but they may want to get into music. Okay, they may want to go and do they may want to act in dramas, in movies. Okay, but they also have their responsibilities, okay, in terms of their family responsibilities, in terms of their financial commitments. So you just can't throw everything away. And there are some who have the ability to go and do it, but most don't do. Okay, so for them, once they create wealth, okay, once they have certain financial security, then they have the ability to go out and pursue things that are their personal interests. Okay, so from that perspective, wealth creation is important. Secondly, you want to help people financially. Okay, it could be for education, it could be for personal growth of certain individuals. You may want to become a social entrepreneur. Okay, you see, entrepreneurship is one in terms of building businesses, creating employment. There is also social entrepreneurship, okay, where your objective is to help people, or your objective is to elevate people from their current lifestyles, okay, by helping them through various programs. Okay, so once you create the financial security for yourself, then it becomes easier for you to go out and do things that you feel is important for your personal growth and your personal fulfillment. So
Good.
from that perspective, wealth creation becomes important.
Yeah, so you said wealth creation is important to have a financial security in short. That will make you, lot of freedom in your choices in your life.
Right.
When someone want to really create wealth, okay, I am interested to create wealth, fine. But to create wealth, I need some, financial literacy, financial information, okay. Without having adequate financial knowledge or financial information or some level of financial literacy, if you look at the Indian, the population, and the lot of even highly educated people, high earning people are not financially highly informed. Okay, so how far it is important the information is to create wealth. So can you just elaborate how important is having financial information to create wealth, and how one can acquire more authentic financial information to create wealth from the market?
Sure, that's yeah. See, first thing, you're right on the point that even people, high income earners, are not spending enough time to improve their financial literacy. Okay, so by financial literacy, I am saying what I'm meaning here is people don't understand the choices in front of them. Okay,
Mm.
most high income earners, especially in the Indian scenario, okay, they look at real estate as their best investment option. Okay, and to great extent, real estate has provided the returns in the early 2000s. Okay, from 2000 until 2007, 2008, real estate gave phenomenal returns. Okay, people who invested during that period made good returns, and they thought that that is the best way to create wealth. Okay, and the reason most people preferred that was, um, traditionally, they all have been brought up in families where people, their fathers or their grandfathers would have bought land at a particular price, and the land would have grown in absolute value over a period of time. Okay, which is certainly good. Okay, and the fact that they can physically see a property, okay, it gives them the sense of security. Okay, but over the last 10 to 12 years, real estate unfortunately has not provided the kind of growth that people saw in the period between 2000 and 2007, 2008. Okay, so that's one thing which people have started realizing now. Okay, now in the last the period between 2014 and 2018, 2019, stock markets have been growing. Okay, the challenge with most people, as far as equity investing is concerned, is people have always thought equity is risky. Okay, and to a great extent they are right. Equity is risky because it is volatile. Okay, but if you are understanding your risks, if you're understanding what you are getting into, then it becomes easier for you to put your money into equities. Okay, and this is where financial understanding financial information, okay, and understanding the avenues through which they can get the financial information becomes important. Okay, one of the things that people can do to start with is to start tracking the stock market. Okay, to start looking at sites like Money Control. Okay, they can start reading books on investing. Okay, one of the books that I would recommend is Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. This
Great.
book was written in 1934. Okay, but it is still useful for anybody who's looking at investing in the stock markets. Okay, it gives you basics of what you have to look at when you have to start investing in the market. Okay, so a few things that people should understand. Okay, when it comes to investing, it is to create an asset allocation. Okay, so again, if you have X amount as your total net worth, okay, how do you how do you track your net worth in the first place? Okay, what are the things that you need to understand in terms of your net worth? Okay, when you mention financial information, people some people may not understand that the house that they are living in should not even be taken into account for the purpose of calculating their net worth. Okay, so because you need a house to live in throughout your life. Okay, so you don't even have to take that into account, and if you have a liability on the house that you're living in, that should be taken out of your net worth calculation. Okay, now these are some of the basics. Okay, now the other thing that they have to understand is, what are the avenues other than real estate? What are the avenues other than um, in fixed income? People just look at bank fixed deposits. Okay, but other than that, you have RBA bonds, you have liquid funds, okay, you have certain debt funds. Again, there are certain debt funds that are risky, okay, which is not suitable for a retail investor. So the investor should understand what are the avenues. Okay, is liquid funds good for me? Is debt fund good for me? Is gilt fund good for me? Or am I um, am I right in investing in a dynamic bond fund? Okay, so these are some of the basics that people should understand when it comes to investing in debt funds. Okay, then comes your equity. Okay, which most people have challenges, because there are a number of asset management companies which have thousands of schemes. Okay, so which scheme is the best for me? Okay, so for an individual investor, he should be able to know what is appropriate, okay, for his life stage, or for his current situation in terms of his finances. Okay, so the basics that somebody can do in terms of gathering financial information, first it should start from their level. What are the bank balances that they have? How is their net worth distributed? Okay, in terms of asset classes. Okay, these asset classes, they should take um, fixed income, then gold, then real estate, then equity. Okay, four basic asset classes that they can take. And within equities also, they have to find out what is suitable for them. Okay, whether um, their risk profile allows them to go and invest in a mid cap or a small cap stock. Okay, a retail investor to start with should start with large cap stocks rather than mid cap or small cap. Okay, and if somebody does not understand any of these, okay, to go into stock markets, they can look at index funds. Okay, so these are from a financial perspective, they should first break down their net worth. Okay, understand what they have, and then start looking at how to allocate all of the money that they have into various asset classes. Okay, so understanding their basics in the first place, then understanding the avenues available in the market, and investing appropriately will help them in terms of the wealth creation process. So it is a long drawn process. Okay, nobody can create wealth unless you are inheriting wealth. Okay, nobody is going to create wealth in a short span of time. When you're looking at 20, 30 years of a person's investment life cycle, that's a period that you have to look at for your wealth creation. For that, you should start with your basic financial information on what you have, what is your income that you are generating month on month, year on year, and how you can allocate all of this income into various asset classes that will help you in terms of creating wealth over the longer term.
Yeah, perfect. Almost you perfectly covered, the asset classes and its related aspects. Here, I would like to know the ideal wealth creation plan that will actually vary to the people to people in the different levels of their life. For example, India is the country having more than 50% of our population under 40s. Okay, under 40s. So we have more. India is the youngest population in the country. We have more of a young population, and as you rightly mentioned, as in your quote of your organization, emerging affluent. Okay, we are having lot of emerging affluent community in India. So I would like to bring that for a discussion here. So can you suggest a ideal wealth creation plan for the people those who are under their 20s to 40s and 60s? If you give a sketch of how they can create an ideal wealth creation plan for the people those who are into 20s, 40s, and 60s. Yeah.
See, no
Ideal
fixed
plan, right?
methodology. Okay, there is no ideal methodology that you can use. Okay, because individual situations differ. Okay, mainly when you read many articles on wealth creation. Okay, people just give certain cookie cutter models. Okay, they just say when you're young, allocate more into equity, and as you age, you start diversifying into
Yeah, that is
uh,
what generally we hear from the market. I would
correct.
like to get a wise advice from you since you
Sure,
have a lot of experience. So I
sure.
ask this question because people will get clarified when you listen to a wise advisor.
Absolutely, absolutely. See, the first thing that anybody has to do in the wealth creation process is understanding their risk profile. Okay, so if you're, let's say, somebody starts their career early 20s. Okay, and let's take a scenario where the guy comes from a fairly affluent family. Okay, and he does not have to take care of any of the family expenses, and all the money that he is earning is to himself. Okay, from that person's perspective, okay, there is a higher possibility for him to go out and save most of what he is earning, because he is not going to spend anything on his living expenses. Okay, compare this with somebody who's moving out of his hometown, living alone, has to take care of his own expenses. Okay, and he's having lesser money to save. Okay, and on top of this, if you if this guy has family commitments, then his savings potential comes down. So basically what we need to understand is, what is the risk profile of these people. Again, risk profile is not just on the ability of the person. Okay, because somebody in mid 30s making let's say um, uh, I'll just throw a number here. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
somebody in mid 30s making 50 lakhs as salary. Okay, um, and having a savings potential of, let's say, 20 lakhs out of it. Okay, but if this guy does not have the mindset to handle volatility, okay, he is better off putting his money in a fixed income instrument. Okay, now we are looking at somebody in, let's say, late 20s having decent amount of money to invest, and has the mindset to handle volatility, has again somebody in mid 30s having a high saving potential, but does not have the ability to handle volatility. Okay, so the first thing that everybody has to understand is to evaluate their own mindset in terms of handling volatility. Okay, so based on that, you start doing your asset allocation plan. If you're totally risk averse, okay, and it has nothing to do with your potential to handle losses. It is more to do with your ability to handle the losses. Okay, then all of these people should just stick to fixed income instruments or to real estate investments, because for them, if the real estate does not go up for 5 continuous years, they just don't feel restless about that. Okay, if from a level of let's say 8% that we saw even 1 year back on fixed income instruments to a level of 5% that we are seeing today in most of the fixed deposit plans, okay, or most of the fixed income instruments, people are happy putting their money in a bank fixed deposit or in a liquid fund that gives them around these rates. They should just stick to that. Okay, the the reason I always encourage people to look at creating an asset allocation is, if you're putting X amount, I'm just throwing some numbers here. Okay, again, this is not the ideal asset allocation,
Yeah.
but if I'm saying 40% in real estate, 30% in let's say or 40% in fixed income instruments, 10% in gold, and 10% in equities. Okay, and a person having a net worth of, let's say, about a crore. Okay, out of a total amount of 1 crore in net worth, okay, 10% in equities is only 10 lakhs. If the market crashes, okay, like what happened in the peak of the pandemic, okay, when the markets went down by about 40%, and if your portfolio is down by 40%, okay, again, all these are notional losses. These are not actual losses till you actually book it. But if you're having a loss of about 4 lakhs on a net worth of 1 crore, your erosion on your wealth is about 4%. Okay, once people understand that this is how I should do the allocation, okay, then if you start feeling that, okay, if my 4%, even if I lose my 4%, my lifestyle does not change, then you're you can afford to invest that money into the equity markets. Okay, but if you start panicking about the fact that, yeah, I invested 10 lakhs and I've lost 4 lakhs, while in the larger scheme of things it does not matter to you, but and this person having a regular income stream, this person has a job which is fairly secure. Okay, and this is only a notional loss, and this is only for a temporary period. Okay, if people don't understand that, and if they don't have the mindset to handle those losses, then it is better for these people not to enter into equity investing. Okay, the reason I'm stressing on equity is the only asset class that historically has given returns that has the ability to beat inflation. Okay, but when you get into equity investing, you're talking about 5 to 10 years of a time period, rather than just buying today and selling tomorrow. Okay, because most people look at equities as, for them, short term is buying today, selling tomorrow, or yeah, long term they think, oh, I've been holding this for a full year. Okay, so when you look at that, okay, when you look at equity investing, you should have a longer term scenario. Okay, so when somebody is in their 20s or 30s, you have a long time period. You have about um, at least 15 to 20 years of investing journey. Okay, so anybody in their let's say late 20s, okay, to their late 30s should try to allocate more into equities during this period. Okay. And even in their early 40s. Okay, because what happens with most of people in salaried employment, okay, their careers peak. For some it peaks in their mid 30s or late 30s, for some it peaks in their early 40s. Okay, so that is the time when your income levels also grow. Okay, and it keeps going up. So this is a time when somebody has started their investing journey in their mid or late 20s, okay, and continue that, for them, they have a long period for creating their wealth, okay. But because of family circumstances, some people may not be able to save enough during their late 20s or early 30s, and they may be able to start only in their mid 30s, okay. So for them, the period becomes shortened. Okay, this is where a lot of people make mistakes by getting aggressive in their investing journey. Okay, thinking that, hey, I have lost time, because of which I need to make some aggressive bets to create wealth in a shorter span of time. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all for most people. Okay, so you're better off saving at an early stage in life, whether you're able to save 50% of your salary. I'm just sticking to salary class here, but it applies to everybody. Okay. People in business have a different kind of an investing journey, because for them, investment in their business is the priority. Okay. Whereas for salaried people, this is the for most of them, the salary is the only source of income. So for them, it is better for them to start saving at an early stage. If whether they save 10% of their salary or 50% of their salary, they should start saving. And in the monthly saving, they should start creating allocations on whether they want to invest in fixed income instruments, okay, whether they buy a property and they're paying EMI for their property, okay, whether they want to start investing in equities, okay, even within equities, they should decide whether they want to invest in index funds or mutual funds, active mutual funds, or into direct equities. Okay, so there are various methodologies, but um, start early. Starting early is the most important thing. And as people mature in their investing journey into their 40s, they can allocate more money into their savings. Okay, and that savings can either be in their equities uh, or fixed income or real estate. Okay, but as people progress towards their retirement, a better option would be to start moving more money into fixed income instruments, and they should look at becoming more liquid in terms of their investments, rather than having assets that are illiquid. Okay, as people age, it is better for them to have more liquid assets than illiquid assets.
Thank you. Yeah, so perfect. It was a very detailed explanation, and we are very fortunate to have such a wise and experienced personality today to get proper and very detailed answers for all the discussions. So I would like to take this session further, throughout the session as we spoke, even after the session, and we like to come up with the basic clarifications what the people may look for when it comes to wealth creation or creating assets and all. So there is a lot of confusions. Okay, so I will get back to a little more technical questions. Before that, there are a lot of people get confused with since I came across from different layers of the society, rural to multi national corporations and metro cities, and there are a lot of confusions are there among the society of these three: savings, insurance, and investment. If you look at the people, those who are living in tier 3 and rural, rural side, they will get confused with these three things: savings, investment. One say, I have so many much of savings, I need not worry about my future. Okay, I insured myself, I need not worry about myself. Okay, so we talk more of this investment in the cities, and even when it comes to the education, and the investment is more being at the attractive in the B schools, at the top level B schools. If you look at the MBAs at the rural colleges and institutions, investment is not the one of the core aspect which is being discussed in a detailed way. So can I get a quick clarification on these three for the better understanding of
Sure.
all? Yeah.
Sure, and it is very important. Okay, so let me take insurance. Okay, first. Okay, so insurance is the most misunderstood product. Okay, in the Indian context. Okay, and it is because of the mis-selling that is happening in insurance. Okay, insurance is basically a provision for a contingency. Okay, so what are those scenarios? Okay, one, death of an individual. Okay, so the family loses the income. Okay, second is the person is incapacitated, and is not able to work. Okay, so the way insurance has been sold in the Indian context is everybody, when they pay, just an example, when you pay insurance for a car. Okay, and if you're paying, let's say, 10, 12, 15,000 rupees in a year, you're very happy if the car doesn't meet with an accident. Okay, and the next year you're willing to pay again for the insurance. Okay, for car. Whereas when it comes to personal insurance, people don't want to do term insurance. Okay, which is the best for any individual, because for, let's say, an individual in his late 20s. Okay, for a small amount he gets a huge cover. Whereas in most cases, what people do, and these are not actual numbers, but I'm throwing some numbers just to give an example. Okay, let's say for a 10,000 rupee premium for a let's say 28-year-old person, he will probably get about 1 crore as term insurance. Okay, and he pays the 28,000 rupees for the per annum every year, and if nothing happens, next year he still has to pay the 28,000 rupees. People just don't like that. Okay, whereas what they do is, for the same 28,000 rupees premium in a sorry, for a 10,000 rupee premium in a year, let's say they get 10 lakhs as their insurance, but they have to pay 10,000 rupees every year for the next 30 years. Okay, and at the end of the 30th year, if they are guaranteed that 10 lakhs as a repayment, they go for that. Okay, so you're getting a 1 crore 1 crore cover on a 10,000 rupee premium on a term insurance, as against, on a refundable basis. Okay, if you pay for 30 years, you get 10 lakhs. You are more than happy to take this. Okay, but what people just don't understand is, okay, that 10 lakhs at the end of 30 years will lose its purchasing power. Okay, because of inflation. Okay, and during these 30 years, if something happens to you, okay, you get only 10 lakhs. As against that, if something happens to you in a term insurance, you get 1 crore. Okay, so the biggest problem is our interest in getting back something out of insurance. Okay, so this is one thing. The second thing is insurance being sold as an investment product, and this is the biggest mis-selling, because in most of these cases you get suboptimal returns. Okay, and most people don't even understand the returns that they are getting. All they want to see is, I'm getting, I mean, people subscribe to money back plans, they subscribe to pension products. I'm not saying every one of these products is bad, but you have to understand what is your priority, what is your age, what is your life stage, and what is the insurance requirement at that age and that at that life stage. Okay, The insurance requirement for somebody at 50 who is already zero debt, who has enough properties, who has enough net worth, is fairly insignificant as against somebody at 30 years of age having a home loan on his primary property, okay, and who has a family of 3 or 4 members. Okay, so there is a huge difference between a 30-year-old guy having 2 children and a home loan, and a guy who has adequate net worth, okay, and who's 55 years of old, 55 years of age, and children settled. Okay, so what you need to find out is what is your insurance need based on your life stage, okay, and your age. Okay, so people just don't give enough thought to these two. Okay, then you talked about savings. Okay, if you just keep your cash, assuming you have 10 lakhs in cash today, okay, what is the 10 lakh in cash buy today as against this 10 lakh in cash that can buy 30 years from now, okay, or 20 years from now? So inflation eats away uh, most of this purchasing power. Okay, so it is not just the savings, your ability of this savings to grow. That is where investment becomes critical. Okay, so you have to ensure that the savings that you have today is put to products or investment products that helps achieve growth. Okay, and this growth for you could be just your income growth, okay, or your asset growth, okay, or a combination of income growth and asset growth. Okay, so your for example, fixed income just gives you steady income. Okay, you are not assured of I mean, there is no growth of the principal. Okay, you get income from a fixed income product. Okay, whereas if you buy a real estate, it gives you some rental, okay, as your income, and it also provides you some growth over a period of time. Okay, with equities, it gives you some income as dividends, and it provides you growth from the capital that you have invested. But there is also a possibility of loss of capital when it comes to equities. Okay, so you have to understand the various investment products and appropriately allocate the money that you have towards those investment products based on your life goals. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Yeah, very detailed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to touch upon the other important, the mode of investment that is mutual funds that is being, popularizing these days. And, after mutual fund campaign that is happening across India through different modes, and a lot of campaigning is going on. And of course, a lot of people are get to know about mutual funds. And I would like to know you have, I think you have observed the India and its market condition for long time, and you are also, I believe, you are also observing the recent crisis we are going through. By keeping all this in mind, what could be the future of mutual funds? Will it be a good investment ever, or for for what kind of people and what kind of investment goals you would suggest mutual fund? So one line I just want to get: what is the future of mutual fund? Is it a good investment? Uh,
Okay. See, mutual fund is just a product. Okay. The underlying investments is in equities. Okay. So what we need to understand is the future of
Mutual,
equities. Okay.
yeah,
Now,
equities.
so from that perspective, okay, so what is the equities as a product? Okay, as an investment. has yielded, as I have said, has yielded inflation adjusted returns across the globe. Okay, people have had success stories in equities, but you have also seen many failures in equity investments. Okay, so the future in terms of equities, it is always good. Okay, again, how will the equity markets grow? The underlying economy has to grow. Okay, when you look at the Indian economy, okay, over the long term, it has continued to grow. Okay, and the advantage that you have, the the demographics, which was a disadvantage a few decades ago, is seen as an advantage today. Okay, so anybody who believes in the India growth story should look at equities. Okay. Now, is that a good investment? It depends on your perspective of equities. Okay. If you are, as I said, if you have the ability to withstand volatility, if you have the ability, if you have the mindset to handle notional losses, I wouldn't even say actual losses, but notional losses. Okay. It certainly is a great investment too. Okay, but if you don't understand the product, if you don't understand the underlying um, uh, the underlying, or if you don't have the comfort with the economy, if you don't have the comfort with the growth in the India story, okay, if you're a pessimist, okay, then it is a totally different story here, because people always think that equities result in losses for people. Okay, that's a myth. That's a pessimistic view of the market. Okay, um, equities has always provided great returns, provided you understand that it is for the longer term. Okay, and you have the ability to stick to it. Okay, to stick to a discipline. Okay, whenever you're investing in equities, okay, you should look at, is it a sustainable investment for me? Whether I'm whether I'm doing 5,000 rupees a month or 50,000 rupees a month or 5 lakhs a month, is it sustainable? Okay. People lose money in equities because they look at timing the market. They think that I have to enter today and I have to exit within a time frame. It doesn't work that way. You have to look at a disciplined model, okay, where you are able to say, I can do 10,000 rupees a month for the next 5 years or 10 years. I don't have to look at how the market is moving. The market will continue to move. Okay, it will. There will be oscillations. Okay, there is. If you look at the equity markets, it oscillates on a hourly basis. It oscillates on a minute by minute basis. Okay, so if you start looking at the indices every day, or if you start looking at your demat account even once a month, equities is not the place for you. Okay, you should look at creating wealth. Okay, and if you're looking at creating wealth, you should be willing to take a disciplined approach. Okay, in see, for most people, they look at SIP as a product. SIP is not a product, it is a process. Okay. Whether you do mutual funds, whether you do direct equities, okay, you are trying to create a systematic investment plan. Okay. That plan is to save X amount of money and invest that money into, whether you're doing it in a mutual fund product or an index fund, okay, or a direct stock of any company. Okay, equities is a great investment for people who look at the long term, and people who have the ability to handle that volatility during the interim period. It is not a good tool for people who are looking at it from a short term perspective. Okay, short term, there are traders who make money in the market. Okay, but for them, that is their basic business. Okay, it doesn't help somebody who has a job where he has to put in 8 hours or 10 hours a day. Okay, because it is not, you need to look at the trading screens for all of the trading hours if you want to be a trader. Okay, that's a full-time job. For a salaried professional, that is not a full-time job, and for him, systematic process is better than looking at trading. Okay, so the answer to your question is equities is a great investment product, but you need to create the asset allocation and you need to have the patience to get the rewards from equities.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have another 10-15 minutes for discussion. And
Sure.
before I go for taking the audience questions, we have received quite a number of questions from audience. Before I go for that, I would like to do more aspects with you. And one is about the current pandemic crisis. Everyone is panic. And as we also discussed after discussion prior to our discussion, and I personally also believe crisis never comes alone. Crisis always comes with some opportunities. Okay, so like that, this pandemic crisis is also, there may be a lot of opportunities in it. So I would like to hear from you, what you would suggest in terms of investment choices after COVID-19. So what are the opportunities we can look out from these sectors or kind of products? So some lights on which sectors to watch and what investment choices to look after COVID-19.
Okay, first thing, I mean, you brought forth a very important point about the opportunities that were created by this crisis. Okay, one thing that I personally feel is it has enabled people to understand their exact savings potential. Okay, because spending, especially during the initial months of the crisis, were limited to essentials. Okay, so people were able to understand that there are a lot of discretionary spending that could be avoided. Okay, so their savings potential has been at least it was an eye opener to many. Okay, so opportunities for investments or opportunities for saving has first increased, which in turn, in my view, has improved their investment choices. Okay, now anybody who has not exposed themselves to the equity markets, okay, or a lot of people who are not exposed themselves to the equity markets have started investing in direct equities during this period. It has certainly opened up opportunities and it has helped people understand some of the potential available. Okay, but there is also a challenge because you need to see some cycles. Okay, and some of these people who have entered the market during this crisis have not seen cycles. Okay, so there are going to be periods of volatility, uncertainty. Okay, where they may also lose some money in the markets. Okay, from a perspective of sectors that you have to look at, I don't want to get into any recommendations, but usually
At least to watch.
yeah, to watch the in the Indian scenario, the banking sector has always grown quickly after a crisis. Okay, but this crisis is very different from the earlier crisis. Okay, but if you look at the banking sector, especially the private banks, they have they always put in systems and processes that are a little better. Okay, and their ability to emerge out of these crises is certainly a little better. Okay, again, there are no recommendations, but this is one area. Okay, the other area is this is I am talking from a longer term perspective. I am not talking anything short term. Okay,
Okay.
um, the consumer the fast moving consumer goods, it has grown over the last the FMCG industry has grown over the last 10 years. Okay, and there is a possibility that it will continue to grow, given the increase in the purchasing power of people. Okay, and the ability of the rural consumer to buy more of these products going forward. Okay, so when you're looking at a 10-year perspective, okay, Hindustan Unilever will continue to do well. But will it do well in the next? Again, it's not a stock recommendation. I am talking about a company perspective.
Company, yeah.
Okay, these are companies that can continue to grow. Okay, but there are doomsday scenarios that are being floated where people say that FMCG has grown over the last 10 years and it may not grow. Okay, so there are multiple views in the market, but my personal view is banking will continue to grow, FMCG will continue to grow. Okay, so you can look at these sectors, you can watch it closely. Again, when I'm looking at a 7 to 10 year scenario, all these can provide you growth. When you're looking at a, let's say, 3 to 5 years scenario, you can never predict any of these.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a few questions from participants. We got quite a good number of questions, so I will pick a few of the questions from the audience.
Sure.
There is a question from CK Piran. Is it right time to enter in the stock market if someone is looking for a long term of 5 to 7 years?
Sure, but again, if you're a fresh entrant, okay, if you don't understand the market, I would certainly recommend anybody who's fresh into the market to get into buying large cap index funds. Okay, don't do anything else. Get your feet wet. Understand the understand the cycle. Understand how the progress is over the next few years, and then you can look at active mutual funds and direct equities. But to start with, I would recommend investing in large cap index funds.
Yeah, thank you. And there is another question from a student. For a student entrepreneur, how do you see stock market as investment option? As we always see people saying Warren Buffett started investing at the age of 11 to 13.
Correct. See, I mean, this is a great example. Okay, but for any individual, okay, to get started in the market, okay, for Warren Buffett, okay, again, if somebody has gone through the biography of Warren Buffett, okay, yeah, and his background, okay, to understand how he started investing, okay, he started earning and he started saving the money, then he started understanding the companies that he was investing in. Okay, so he had that ability to go in and read about it. Okay, start making investments based on certain criteria. Okay, for a student entrepreneur, if you're going to utilize your pocket money, okay, if you're going to utilize your small savings, okay, I would still recommend doing large cap index funds. Okay, you can start with a very small amount and start investing, understand the market over a period of time, read more, understand more. If you have the ability to understand the basic principles of investing, and as I said earlier in this conversation, the best book that any novice can buy and read and understand is Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. I would certainly recommend reading the book before you even get into doing anything with the stock market.
Yeah, thank you. And there is other question from Mr. Ashwin. What can be the minimum capital to be a full-time trader as a beginner? Which segment is advisable? Yeah.
I would never recommend trading to any beginner. Okay, if you want to get into trading, you should certainly get into a job where You can learn and then get into trading. But trading, as I said earlier in this conversation, it should be a full-time job for somebody if you want to get into trading. But I would not recommend trading for a beginner.
Yeah. Other question from Mr. Negru. If I don't want to purchase any shares related stuff and want to enable a startup, he tries to invest in a startup. What is the security for my investment in the present landscape of Indian economic conditions?
See, investing in a startup has its own challenges. Okay, so there is absolutely no security for any equity investment, whether you do it in a listed company or in a startup, and the uh, the risks are higher in a startup. Okay, so if you are a retail investor, I would discourage you from investing in startups. Okay, if you're a professional, then the scenario is very different. Okay, but for a retail investor, there are better investment choices.
Thank you. So we have taken enough questions from participants. I believe we had a wonderful discussion for an hour. So we try to cover all the possible aspects, and we both of us know it's a ocean. We cannot discuss all the aspects in a 1 hour session, but still we made a quite an impressive discussion for about an hour. Thanks a lot for coming and sharing your insights. It's our pleasure always having you here, and we really had a wonderful session. Thank you very much, Krishna. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you for the invite. Thank you.